the root of the problem isn't actually whether or not you get what you want. It's acknowledging the things that you need or want or desire or prefer because they matter, because you matter. The things that you are called to do on this planet matter. You following your desires, doing your work, creating the life of your dreams has a ripple effect that impacts others.
Welcome to Breakthrough Mode, the podcast where we intentionally get into the driver's seat of our lives, shift out of monotony and mediocrity, and step on the gas towards becoming the person we were always meant to become.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday in the Wild on the Breakthrough Mode podcast. I'm your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me and pushing play on today's episode. This week, we are chatting about the cost of ignoring yourself. And I shared on this week's email that this topic can be really tricky because on the outside, ignoring yourself or being thoughtful and compromising and doing things for someone else, for somebody else's preferences, both of those things can look exactly the same on the outside. So the difference really comes down to your internal state, your internal feeling, your internal even knowing of whether or not you're ignoring yourself and pushing down your own desires, your own preferences, your own needs, your own wants, or if you are truly acting from a place of love and generosity and thoughtfulness and consideration for someone else. On the outside, it can look exactly the same. Over time, you would be able to tell on the outside that habitual ignoring of yourself takes a toll. It has a cost. There does become an exterior, visible kind of depletion, kind of a, I don't know, you lose your vibrancy, you lose kind of this zest for life, this, you don't lean into life as much. You're not as alive as we talked over the last 2 weeks about that feeling of being truly alive and engaged in your life or really disengaged and disconnected. And ignoring yourself can be a huge cause for becoming disengaged and disconnected. There's definitely a correlation there. When you continually, habitually ignore yourself, ignore your own desires, ignore your own preferences, ignore your own needs, you tend to disengage because it starts to feel like your needs don't matter, your desires don't matter, your preferences don't matter. And then it starts to even get a little bit farther down to like life doesn't matter. And that can be a really sad place to be and a tragic place to live. So we don't want to get there. We want to enjoy life fully. We want to be fully alive, fully engaged in our life, actively creating rather than passively reacting to whatever life throws our way. And one of the ways to really do that is to pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to what you need. Pay attention to what you want, what your preferences are. Now, that doesn't always mean that everything has to go your way. There is a place for generosity. There is a place for compromise. There is a place for doing things for other people or for other people's preferences. All of those things have their place too. It's about the energy that you are in when you are making choices. There's a huge difference between I'm doing this for you because I love you and I want you to have it your way versus I'm going to do this for you because my preferences don't matter. There's a huge energy difference there. One is rooted in love, and the other is rooted in this lack of belief in your own worthiness or good enoughness to have things the way that you want them. So this is a tricky one because it's an inside game. It truly is. So let's say you can see the cost of ignoring yourself. Maybe you're disengaged, disconnected, trying to avoid life. You're resisting life. You've got all of this heaviness attached to living and you're not fully alive. Once you've gotten there, the thing to do is to notice where you tend to ignore yourself, where you already dismiss your desires, your needs, your preferences. Don't even voice them, don't even allow them to be an option. Notice where you are doing that so that you can make a different choice. Not saying that this will be super easy, especially if ignoring yourself is really habitual. You always self sacrifice for the peace of everything or for your kids or for whatever. No, it's going to feel a little bit selfish. It's going to feel a little bit like, but they need it more than me, or, I'm the adult and I can handle not whatever, like you can rationalize it all day long. But actually, what we need from you, what we need you to do is be as you can be. We need you to be vibrant, to be full of life, to do your good work, to show up in your biggest, boldest, brightest way possible. And you cannot do that if you habitually ignore yourself, because you will just become a shade of who you are. And you can't be your boldest, brightest, most you if you are a shade of who you are. Because think about it this way. If you have a car, it has needs, right? It needs oil, it needs gas, it needs new tires, it needs regular maintenance, all of that stuff, right? Your car is there to serve you, right? It's there to serve you, to take you places, take you where you want to go. Your car is there to serve you. And if you don't take care of it, it cannot serve you. It can't. If you don't put gas in it, it can only get you so far, however much gas you have. If you don't take it for regular maintenance, even if you do put gas in it, something else is going to break down because it hasn't been taken care of. You are the same way. You have to take care of you in order for you to continually serve those you love, serve the world around you, serve anyone. And when you're ignoring yourself, you're not taking care of you. You are subconsciously running under the belief of your needs, your desires, your preferences don't matter when they absolutely do. Again, not to say that everything's going to go your way all the time, not to say that you're going to always get what you want all the time, but you don't have to ignore what it is that you want. You don't have to ignore what it is that you need or what it is that you desire. Even just simply voicing it and, saying like, this is what I want can be enough to be like, okay, I admitted that I want that. So if you're going to go out for dinner and like maybe it's super late and you need something quick or whatever, you can be like, man, I really wish we had the time to go sit down at a hibachi table right now. I know that that's the timing's not right. Like this isn't the right time, but I wish we could do that because that's really what I want. Even just doing something like that is allowing you to have your own preferences, your own needs, your own desires, even while a different choice is actually made. Okay. So the root of the problem isn't actually whether or not you get what you want. It's acknowledging the things that you need or want or desire or prefer because they matter, because you matter, because the things that you are called to do on this planet matter, because you following your desires, doing your work, creating the life of your dreams has a ripple effect that impacts others. In my Tuesday email this week, I talked about the difference between me as a postpartum mom in this haze of postpartum depression and the version of me that my oldest daughter got then versus the version of me on the other side of postpartum depression. And even though I was like there to serve her while I was in postpartum depression, and like her every need and desire and whim was met, she got a much better mom when I started making time for me, when I started to, give myself my own needs and my own desires and allow myself to have my own preferences and not just be at her every whim and her every beck and call. When I started to really take care of me, I had more of a capacity to do more fun things with her, to be more engaged with her, to be a better mom. So while we are here to serve and be generous with others and kind and loving with others and compromise and all of those things, that is the best when it comes from a place of willing love for someone else, not this obligatory, it has to be your way because my preferences don't matter. Not when it comes from a place of, I'm just a doormat. Not when it comes from a place of, our desires and needs and preferences aren't even an option. So we just have to do what you're doing because what I want doesn't matter. And that's tricky. It's tricky because it's all an inside job. And I have lived days, weeks, months, years where I have thought on repeat habitually, what I want doesn't matter. I have had that thought on repeat in my head. And it's taken some loving people around me, mostly Jake, who even knew about it. Of course, there are other people who love me and support me who didn't know that that was on repeat in my head. But, there was a point where I told Jake that I felt that way. And, we worked to correct that. And he's like, of course, your needs and desires and preferences matter. I want to know what you want always. And we were able to correct that. And the more that, I even just voice it, even if we do something else, even if we do what the girls want, or even if we do what Jake wants, just voicing it is often all that is needed, is all the acknowledgement that is needed. And there are times where it's just like he gets frustrated because I'm like, no, what I want is what you want. So what do you want in this situation? What do you want for dinner? Because what I want is for you to have what you want. That's when that generosity, that serving, that love of others comes from that place of love. That is available. But it's detrimental to yourself if you don't acknowledge what you want as well. If it's like, well, I really want this, but I want to do what you want tonight. So that is an option. This is not an either or thing. So it's really tricky. So the indicator is going to be how you feel about it. If you're doing something for somebody else and it's coming from a place of love, it's going to feel light and joyful and warm. And if you're doing something and it's coming from a place of obligation or my desires don't matter or my preferences aren't even an option, it's going to feel heavy. It's going to feel like you're suppressing yourself, you're suppressing your desires and your preferences. And truly, if you do that long enough, there is a cost. There is a cost. Just like you can't run your car forever without taking care of it, you can't run forever without taking care of you. And honoring your needs and desires and preferences is part of taking care of you. You deserve to be taken care of. And oftentimes, you have to be the one to do it because you know what you truly need and what you truly desire and what your true preferences are. And I need to say this too, a lot of it comes from allowing yourself. Allowing yourself. This is going to sound silly, but we tell ourselves no all the live long day. You're like, "Oh, I want a soda, but I had too many yesterday, so I'm gonna say no to that." But we don't even say it out loud. We just say it in our head of like, "Oh, no, I'm not gonna do that." Or, "I wanna sleep in, but I've got this and this and this and this to do, so no, I'm not gonna do that." Or, "I want to take a super long shower, but I'm running late, so no, I'm not gonna do that." We tell ourselves no on what it is that we want all the live long day. And sometimes it's like, I do want this, but I want this more. And so we choose what we want more. That's also a scenario that's real and true. But there are also situations where we just reflex tell ourselves no. And that is still a form of ignoring yourself, the not even acknowledging the desire, the preference, the need. So this week, I challenge you to start noticing where it is you tend to ignore yourself, where it is you tend to just reflex, tell yourself no, and start to look at that and start to notice how you feel when you are ignoring yourself, when you start to feel heavy when a choice is made. Maybe it's about dinner, maybe it's about this or that or whatever. And you start to feel like you're suppressing yourself. Notice where you are doing that so that you can correct it, so that you can make different choices. Because this suppressing of yourself suppresses your vibrancy. And we need you vibrant. We need you to go do it, whatever it is on your heart. We need you to be as you possibly can. And that includes giving yourself what you need and what you want and what you prefer. And when you choose to do something for somebody else, to do that from a place of love. You can love yourself, you can love others. People can have it their way, you can have it your way. We can all lift together. It's not an either or, it is a both and. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I totally love you. Bye for now.